Well, as you can see, I am back in Carbondale, and I've got my sweat towel, my backpack, and I'm going for my daily walk. The only problem is I shouldn't be walking today. I should be riding my bicycle. And why I want to do that, of course, I'll get to in a minute. But I want to explain why I'm not on the bicycle right now. I've been back in the US, or back in Carbondale, for about 2 weeks now. And my plan was, instead of walking, I was going to try to ride the bicycle every day and build up muscle in the legs. Because the bike, of course, is more of a strength exercise, especially with hills and things like that, than walking is. You can walk for hours and really not get tired. But on the bicycle, you get tired fast, especially if you're riding hills. So anyway, my goal was to get the bike out of the garage where it's been for the last year and a half, oil it up, blow up the tires, check the brakes, and hit the road. Day one, everything went as planned. Day two, I had a flat tire. Now, unfortunately, I don't really have any extra parts to fix the tire. Normally, when you have a flat tire, the easiest and most surefire way of fixing it is simply to replace the tube. So you take the tire and tube off the wheel, check the tire, make sure nothing's actually still sticking in it that caused the flat in the first place, and then replace the tube. If you're adventurous, you might want to try to patch the old tube. That way you have another tube to put in if the new one that you put in first goes flat. That's the easiest way to do it. Unfortunately, I don't have any spare tubes, or new tubes, I should say, to replace the one that's flat. So my only option was to fix it. There's only one way to fix a tube, and that is to patch it. You have to find where the puncture is. There's several ways you can do that, none of which I'm going to describe here. If you want, you can look it up. But once you find the puncture, you have to patch it. I'm going to skip all over those details because they're not important to this video. But anyone who's actually patched a bicycle tube knows that it's a 60% chance that it won't work. You put the tube back in the wheel, and it's going to leak again for reasons that defy science. Most of the time, if you puncture your tire immediately after you repaired a tube, it's because there's something in the tire that you neglected to check for and remove. Worst case scenario, there's something wrong with your rim. If that happens, you're doomed. But I'm getting off track here. If you patch the tube, chances are it might work, and then of course it might not. That's why replacing the tube is the best option. So that's what I did. After the first flat, I took the tube out and patched it, put it back in the tire, blew it up, and I was on my way. For that day, it worked fine. And the next morning, when I came out to do another ride, I found that the tire was flat again. So obviously, the patch I put on the tube either wasn't working properly, or somehow, and this is the worst possible scenario, somehow there's something in the tire or in the rim itself, inside the wheel, that's actually causing the flat. I looked at the tire. I couldn't find anything sticking out of it on the outside. I couldn't find anything on the inside. I looked at the rim. The rim is smooth. There were no sharp edges. I looked at the rim tape. There's nothing wrong with the rim tape. It is old, but there's nothing wrong with it. And if you don't know what a rim tape is, it's that usually a piece of black rubber or some kind of synthetic material that wraps around the wheel on the inside that covers up the heads of the spokes. Those heads can be sharp, and sometimes the spokes stick up just a little bit. And if you put the tube against those without the rim tape, then you would surely get a flat just because of that. But if you check out your own bicycle, you'll find that all the wheels have rim tapes. So instead of fixing the same tube again, I took an old tube that I know had been patched earlier, say a year or two ago, and put that inside the wheel. That worked fine for a day, actually 2 days. And then on the third day, the tire was flat again. So out comes that tube, in goes another old tube. This is 3 tubes so far. Put that one in, blew it up. And the next morning, you guessed it, the tire was flat again. So I had one more tube. I only have 4 tubes. All of them have patches from some point in time. Put that one in. That one lasted for another 2 days. And this morning, when I went out to get the bike, go for my ride, once again, the tire was flat. So I was not in the mood for another tire changing episode, so I thought, I know, I'll just go for a walk. That's why I'm out here walking this morning instead of pedaling. It's just not easy being me. So I started to think that maybe I'm just not doing this properly. So I repatched all 4 tubes, or if I could find a hole in any of the tubes, I would repatch it. So I did that and then filled up all 4 tubes just to see if they would hold air overnight. And they did. This was before I put them inside the tire. So I'm starting to think that it's not the tube that's causing the flat, or it's not the faulty patch. I didn't patch it incorrectly or carelessly or anything like that. There's something in the tire, I would imagine, that I missed. So I'm going to have to get out the electron microscope and go over that tire with a bright light and a magnifying glass and see if there's anything in that tire that I can find that would be causing a puncture in a tube, bicycle tube. I'll keep you informed. You're probably wondering why, if I can walk every day, that I'd be interested in cycling at all. Well, the reason is simple. For the same amount of time that you invest in it, cycling requires a much higher metabolic output than walking does. So I'm going to be getting, on a bicycle, I'm going to be getting a much better aerobic workout and a much better strength workout than I would if I was just walking, given the same amount of time. So adding to my frustration with fixing my flat bicycle tires is that I need to cut the grass in the backyard today. Anybody that watches my videos knows that grass cutting is one of my least favorite things. So is there anything new in Carbondale since I left back in April? Not a lot, no. We're getting ready for Pioneer Nights here, which is occurring on August 16th through the 19th, I think. That's going to be the big cultural event that happens while I'm in town. So I will be making a video about that. But other than that, not much is different. Of course, I've only been gone for 3 months, so you can't really expect major changes in 3 months. Right now I'm walking through my favorite part of the Lackawanna River Heritage Trail. Oh, did I mention that I'm on the Lackawanna River Heritage Trail? Well, surprise, I am. What a shock, right? is one of my favorite places to walk. And this tunnel of trees and leaves that I'm in right now is my favorite part of the trail. It's right along the main road on my left, and over here to my right is the Lackawanna River. It only lasts for maybe 80, 90 meters, and then we're back on the wide open compared to this part of the trail. I'm just approaching Simpson, and I think at some point in my brief stay here in the US, I might make a video about Simpson. Normally I'm wandering around Carbondale, but Simpson is really close by, and a lot of the places I go to, either on foot or on the bicycle, are actually in Simpson. In fact, right now I'm in Simpson, at the Simpson trailhead. If you've made it this far into a video that shows almost no creativity at all, doesn't have a script, tells silly stories, and sets color science and photography back into the dark ages, then you need to be subscribed, because you must like what's going on here. If you're watching this video and you made it this far and you're not subscribed, what is wrong with you? Anyway, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.